All right, everyone. I need to go on Do Not Disturb so that way I can get through this video well. Hopefully you guys can hear me fine. Pairing. We are getting ready to stream live on YouTube. I want to thank everyone that will be tuning in, and just like a lot of you guys watch it later. And I appreciate those people who tune in when they can. Some of our people are truck drivers and they catch it on the road. So however you get your content, these meetings are very, very informative and neat and necessary when we do this once a year summit, national summit, and it's for last names L through O. So what I'm going to do is, we're streaming live now. I'm going to read to you what the agenda looks like, and we're going to do a roll call, and then we're going to dive right into our 6 subject matters and talk about the state of Black America. We go also hit and touch on Africa, the continent. We got to always cover the continent because that's where we come from. So we got to make sure we cover home base at all times. So we're going to do that. I'm going to have some slides for you guys. I know I talked in the past about having sponsors, so we're going to get to that, where we're going to have our sponsors actually either their logo and how to reach them, or we're going to have a quick video, depending on where they fit in that on our sponsorship. I take breaks. We won't have any guest speakers today. If someone want to call in, you can always call in, as long as your question pertains to the subject matter that we're discussing, then we'll let you on, because we want to, make sure that people can participate that way. All right, so I think we are good. Let me check and make sure the Zoom is still going. The YouTube channel is still going. Got lights. All right. I don't see it. Let's see if it's ready. I should have put the year of this LMNO summit. I should have put the year on there, because we do this every 6 months, every year. So this looks like the one we just did in March, and it's not. So that's something that I learned from, and we'll make it better. So let's get to it. The National Block Club University is a altogether 26-year, November 20 of 94. This November 20 will make 27-year structure that's focused on bringing the Black community together to make the changes that we need to see in our neighborhood. We cover every aspect of Black life. We do it in a highly organized fashion. The purpose of National Block Club University originally was to stop the shooting and killing affecting Black people. However, in working in that arena, we found out that it's too much tied to the violence. And that's when we started linking and doing other aspects of Black improvement other than just violence. So this is where we are now. This meeting here is called the LMNO National Summit. It's for people whose last names begin with the alphabets L, M, N, and O. If that's not your last name, then you personally can disengage, or you can listen to it. It's okay, but we just want to make certain that every month we spend time with those last names, L, M, N, and O, toward discussing what we need to do to make life better. So we always start with roll call. The agenda is we take 5-minute breaks, 3-minute breaks. We go from 3 o'clock to 3:05 with kind of introduction. At 3:05, we get into roll call. We go from roll call to the good news of what's happening in Africa and Mississippi. We touch on Africa. Africa is a big part of what we do. Then we get into safety at 3:20. We deal with the youth. Then we get into at 3:40, so that's 20 minutes there. And then we spend 20 minutes on economic development and construction. Then we spend a little time on education at 4 o'clock to 4:20, hunger and also food. Then we get in there, we spend time with policy and legal accountability. That's at 4:20. And then we summarize the whole event. We close it out with the next steps. And I announced the next meeting that we're going to have, the next summit, which is last names P, Q, and R. Okay, so that's the format that we follow. That's what we go by. And I just want to thank you guys for watching. We are streaming on YouTube right now. And that's it. So let's start with roll call. We have zip code, 6 zip codes on the west side of Chicago. They manage altogether 6 US cities, 6 countries in Africa. So on the west side of Chicago, 60612 zip code is our brother Byron Dickens. Byron doesn't have to be on. Last name starts with D, and this here is LMNO. We also have zip code 60623. That's North Lawndale. Eric Strickland is the governor there. Last name S. We'll be looking to connect with him in May. Then we have zip code 60624, which is the Garfield Park neighborhood out west. Sandra Brinson is our leader there. Last name B. 60639 is North Austin. That zip code is Tiffany Taylor is our leader there. Last name T. We hope to have her in May. We have 60644. This zip code, which is South Austin, we don't have a governor. We have several people we interact with in that zip code. James Shannon being one of those people that we work with. James is a Marine that has done a lot for society. And so we interact with him because his last name is S. It's May and November as well. Then we go to 60651. That is Kernitha Jones. Kernitha Jones is the governor for that zip code. And last name J. So she's February, then again in August. That covers our west side of Chicago. Moving over to the south side of Chicago, 60609 zip code is Gail McDaniels. Gail is brand new. We just appointed her last month, so she's new. Won't be able to get on today. We won't bug her again for 6 months, which will take us till March of 2022. So she is the one who should be on today, but because she's new and just getting her feet wet with everything we're doing, we will anticipate her in 6 months from now, which is in March. 60609 is Francis Newman. I am expecting and hoping Francis will be able to dial in. Francis Newman is one of our governors that has done a whole lot and continue to do a whole lot to help us. And so we hope to get her 2 cents in before the summit is over today. Then we have 60621. That's Chastity Freeman. It's not her month, so we don't expect her to get on. However, her district leader, Tamala Miller, we hope to have her dial in as well. Then we get over to 60629. Deborah Pryor is our governor there. Deborah, last name, has her being on here next month, which is P, Q's, and R's. And then we have 60636, Denise King. She's February and August, so we're not anticipating Denise being on here. Then we have 60652, Brittany Corners. With that last name, of course, you know we won't have her on today either. That covers the south side west of the Dan Ryan Expressway. Now we get into the east side, which is 60615, Joe Merles. Joe is our governor for 60615, last name Merles. He's set to be on. Then we have 60617 zip code. This zip code is Chrissy Williams. We're not expecting her until June. 60619 is Erica Dunn. Last name D. We're not expecting Erica to be on. 60628, which is Roseland, is Charles Robinson. He is next month. We anticipate Charles being ready to go next month. 60637 is Claudette Reddick. She, like Charles Robinson, is next month, P, Q's, and R's. So we hope to have Claudette on next month. Then we have 60643, Diana Barnes, governor. She is January and July. So we're not anticipating Governor Diana Barnes. 60649, we are anticipating Rachel Lindsay. That's one of our superstars who is up this month. So altogether, I named you 3 governors who is up this month. Rachel Lindsay now, 60649, 60615, Joe Merles, 60620, Francis Newman. So this system works when people cover their every 6 month schedule. And that's exactly what I'm speaking about right here when we get people operating in that format. All right, so that's the roll call. Let me tell you guys the good news as an overview. So big picture, we have had slower input, slower results this month of September, but the reason for it makes up for the fact that it's been slower. The reason it's been slower is because we've been doing a lot of coordinating, finding out who's going to play what roles 3 days a week. We're getting ready to go from 1 day a month to 3 days a week, which is 12 times a month. That's the production we're about to get from people who would be a member of the 60 unit team. We're getting ready to form 60 people to help us 3 days a week. And that's going to put this whole process we got together to the test. In Black Chicago, the third largest city in America, we're going to finally get a chance to see what this system can do. So that's the good news I'm excited about. Throughout the other sections, I'm going to be talking about other good news, but that's the biggest right there. And then we move on to rural America, and that gets us to Mississippi. So with Mississippi, we got some things to talk about. On the surface, right off the bat, I want to just say we did have in Jackson, Mississippi, a 4th grade winner. We was able to send money down to Mississippi, Jackson, the city of Jackson in Mississippi, and then of course we got Mount Bayou with a young man that he has won 3 or 4 times with us the award. Jamaica Smith, my wife, she's covering the awards. We're going to be talking about the 2nd graders in the education section up at 4 o'clock. But for the most part, Mississippi, the best news is the fact that we made new relationships in Jackson, Mississippi, and Falcon, Mississippi. And there was another place that we made a new connection with, which is a good thing. All right, so that covers our rural piece here. And I'm also going to talk about the 60 member unit that's going to be working. One of them is our superstar, Cheryl. Cheryl will be, I believe she's going to be our Sunday, Monday, Tuesday person for the newsletters for 54 of Mississippi's 108 towns that we're working in. So that's going to be a big deal for us. I'm excited to work with Sister Cheryl on how we're going to connect these newsletters to these small towns and let them know we got their back. Like that's what we want people to know, is that we coming together and we're going to watch their back and be there for them and support them, and they don't have to worry about nothing. All right, so now we're going to take our first break. When we come back, I'm going to be getting into our discussion around safety, and that's why we exist, is to stop this violence out here. We got a lot of violence to talk about, so we're going to take a 5-minute break now. And we're going to come back and then get into the safety, which is Team 3 department. Thanks. All right, everyone. Your host, Cy Smith, is back. Um, right now, we've been having some technical difficulties, so that's why it's been a delay. It should have been a 5-minute break, ended up going 3 minutes longer. So I apologize for that. What I want to do, though, because I'm still working through those issues, we're going to keep pressing forward. I want to give you guys, I gave you the roll call by zip codes. I want to pay homage to our two groups real quick while we're hopefully getting the audio done on the other one. The first one is our last names L through O senior citizens. Every Friday is Love Seniors Day for us. So I just want to read off some of their last names. We got Miss Lackey, we got Miss Lazaros, we got Miss Love, we got Mr. Lucas, we got Miss Montgomery, Mr. Mitchell, we have Mrs. Morgan, Miss Morris, and we have Mrs. Nash. So these are some of the seniors who last names begin with the letters L, M, N, and O. And so the key with that is we want you to let us know what elders you have as well, because as we continue building what we're doing here, it's going to make life better when we have people on schedule inside the system, inside the network, and they will know they'll have a degree of certainty going on that'll help them in their neighborhood, in their community. So what I want to do right here is I want to share a screen, because this here I think is going to be very, very helpful to us. Let's make sure it's going to come up so you guys can see it. Yep, there it is. So I'm glad I'm doing it this way. I can really, really see it. Let's see if we can get the full screen here. Let's see if we can get the full screen. That would be amazing. Okay. There we go. All right, this is good. And so now, once it come up so you guys can see it, I'm gonna click on this because I should be able to open up from these slides here. This here, let's see here, control. I know it's hard to see you guys, so this is something that I learned from. We'll get better at it. Let's see if I can make this bigger though, because I do think you guys should be able to see this in a broader context. This here is our safety overview, what we're going to be discussing. Let's see if I can blow this up so you guys can really see it. Okay, so here at the bottom here, you're going to see in the middle, it talks about today. And I wanted to talk about the 4 things we're doing about stopping the violence. And if you guys can see me, I want to really emphasize why we think we're in a pretty decent position to deal with the violence. And it comes down to this slide right here. The violence that we are suffering from, and this is a key distinction, black violence, because when we say violence, it's almost like just saying I have a headache, not understanding that you really have tumors that's really affecting you. It's not just a headache, it's deeper than that. So when we say violence in the United States of America, it's important to be specific about it. Black violence, because black violence is different than Hispanic violence. It's different from white violence. It's different from Asian violence. So it's not just violence, it's violence. There's different effects and there's different reasons for the violence. So here with black violence, 54 people shot, 9 killed. This was last weekend in Chicago in a 72-hour range. So in 3 days. All right, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit bigger here. So here, I want to talk about why this is happening. So let's go to the bottom corner here. Let's see if I can get some annotations here so you guys can see what I see. Okay. All right, good. So I get the draw right here in red ink. So right here, as you can see, global society profit off of ignorance, pain, and suffering. It says here, Black pain equals global profits. It goes on, there are three pillars used to anchor global profits off of Blacks: isolation, starvation, exploitation. Isolation, starvation, exploitation. All right. Now let's come over here. The reason that they can benefit from profit off of our pain and suffering is because this first thing right here. We are in a constant state of uncertainty as Black people in the United States of America. And before any of our more stable Black people say, not everyone, I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to the people who identify with what I'm speaking about. We'll deal with your level of people down the line. So a constant state of uncertainty, okay? And the reason it's a constant state of uncertainty is because of right here. We've been isolated all over this country. Black neighborhoods been isolated, no place worse than Chicago. So this is why you have a lot of uncertainty, because you have this whole world operating outside, and here you are operating isolated within this bubble, if you will. So you don't know when the outsiders are going to come in and take over. Tulsa, Oklahoma is a key example. Right outside the Black Mecca were evil white people who came in to destroy them. So you don't know the day or the hour when they're going to come in. All you know is you're isolated, making you an easy target. So that's the what isolation does. It builds uncertainty. The whole thing with what we do with National Black Club University is we create predictability. Predictability goes against uncertainty. Predictability gives you comfort because you know what is coming. The second reason is right here, anxiety. One of the byproducts of being uncertain is worry. And this here is where the anxiety come in at. So you look at all of our zip codes. This month is 60644 South Austin neighborhood. You better believe there's a lot of anxiety in that zip code, from everything from tax bills to the violence to the missing persons, you name it. There's uncertainty in that zip code and all of our zip codes. Then you go to the third one. We're in a constant state of fear. Fear. Now, when Black males in particular hear fear, they say, I'm not afraid of anything. So if we really break down fear, fear goes to not knowing. Fear goes to being a little concerned because you don't know what is on the other side. You don't know the outcome. So fear isn't that you're afraid to confront and challenge. It just means you have a certain emotional stance that, because of the uncertainty, gives you less confidence, if you will. So Blacks being in a constant state of uncertainty, anxiety, and fear leads us to a lot of this shooting and killing that we see, whether it's in DC, Chicago, Atlanta. We deal with a lot of this primarily because of this constant state of uncertainty, fear, and so forth. Okay, so now let me close this out. Let me clear this. Let's clear it. Okay, now let's go up a little bit. Let's go up a little bit. Now, let's get back to my annotation. I know I got to speed up. I'm taking way too much time here, but this is important. So we have untreated damage as a people. Untreated damage we have. We're suffering from this. We have no relief. All right. So when you got people who are dealing with a constant state of uncertainty, no relief. A constant state of anxiety, no relief. Constant state of fear, no relief. They're going to behave in ways that are not in their own best interest because they're rushing, because they're worried. And for us, we are dealing with untreated amounts of hurt, untreated amounts of abuse, and untreated amounts of bitterness, things we're holding on to because of what happened to us with abuse and being hurt. So this here, HAB, is our internal challenges we face when we talk about stopping the violence. It's hard to stop the violence when you got people who've been hurt, abused, and bitter. All right. So when we get over here to this section, it's no wonder why disagreements, which all humans are going to have, but humans, when it comes to black people and the violence we deal with, the disagreements we have can go from being minor disagreements to major conflicts where death and violence occurs. And so when I hear about 10 people shot in 7 hours in Memphis, I can see that because I already know they dealing with a constant state of uncertainty, anxiety, and fear that leads to easy disagreements and easy conflict, and that conflict unfortunately turns to violence. So you can list that now in that pecking order in terms of what we're dealing with when we talk about the shooting and killing in Black America. This is precisely dead on what we're faced with and how we're going to be able to turn this around, what we're going to have to do to turn this around. I don't see a way outside, a way around it if we don't strategically do what we're talking about here. So let me go to this missing persons next because we're a little bit past time. So I want to go to, and I'm a little disappointed I can't just click on these things. So I'm gonna have to fix this because if I got to do all this circling and going to the page, that's gonna eat up a lot of time, and that's a problem all by itself. So I apologize again. It's my first time doing it this way, so a little working through a little kinks here, but it's gonna eventually become a beautiful product that you can share with your family and friends to help them see where we're going as a people. All right. So anyway, we're gonna talk about missing persons. And this here, I can just verbally talk about until I'm able to pull the website up. We just had 3 instances I want to talk about in Chicago about missing persons, and it shows you why Black people have that uncertainty, anxiety, and fear. We had Jelani Day, ISU student in Southern Illinois. He was missing for how many days? He was missing since July. He's 25-year-old. He was missing since July. And so they found his body on September 4th in the LaSalle County, Illinois River. He was dead. But the worry his family endured was not good because they didn't know where he was and they was fighting to bring him home safely. Our zip code 60619 in Chicago and Philadelphia are our headquarters when it comes to missing persons and unsolved cases. I just want you guys to know what we're doing to help with that. So anyway, this Black male was missing for that long and it didn't get a lot of attention. It got some attention, but not a lot of attention. However, on July 2nd, Gabby Petito came up missing with her boyfriend, and August 25th is the final time she contacted her family. So from July 2nd to August 25th, they were in touch with the family. Then it went cold. Her boyfriend came back to Florida without her, created a lot of doubt and questions. Days later, the FBI finds her body, but the attention and listening to the officials call her Gabby. I mean, operating outside of the professional realms as if Gabrielle or Gabby is a family member to them, just calling her Gabby. For non-Black people, when they see that, it's no big deal. But for Black people, it's a big deal because we see that if it was Jelani, they would probably say Mr. Day. Why? More formal. Don't feel as connected. Don't feel as comfortable because he's Black and I'm not Black. And some of that psychology to me in that is just a matter of who I'm comfortable with. But for us on the outside, we know the other side to that, which is when you really don't care and you really don't have this affinity that for this group of people that you have to serve equally. And that's what, to me, gives us another pause, another worry, anxiety on our end. But here's the kicker. So we get it. Gabby got more attention nationwide. If the website would have pulled up, I would have showed you all the coverage with Gabby versus Jelani. But here's what's even worse. 3 dogs, Keith, Pappy, and Stella, went missing. These 3 dogs got all the Chicago airway. They put up a $10,000 reward, and dogs was found within hours. Now, listening to this family, they were hurt that their dogs is missing, and they went on TV and talked about that. And this again, when you talk about Team Six race relations, I don't think non-black people understand that your silence when I'm struggling says something. Your silence when I'm going through something says something. The fact that when you're going through something, you get this attention, you have resources, you put a $10,000 reward up, and I can't. So you got dogs getting more money to be found than human beings. And how do I honor that? How do I respect that when I see that you could rally and do something, but you choose not to? Why? I don't know. You will have to answer that. But it's just real telling that dogs have gotten more reward money put up than black human beings. But I do think it's something we had to put out there to challenge us about that, because we need to, we need to be held accountable for that. That's the raw reality. All right, so that covers that aspect. All of our people in the South suburbs, I want you to know we got a new relationship with a high-ranking person in one of the suburban towns in the South suburbs. This is good because there have been leaders who've been clamoring for us to open up in the South suburbs, but it looks like now it's going to make sense for us to do it. So I wanted to make sure that you guys are excited about that and ready to go as we get ready to really open up in the southern part of Illinois. The southern part of Chicago is part of Cook County, and that's why Cook County is one of the largest black counties in America. South suburbs is a part of that. We look forward to interacting and working with all of our South suburbs people, all of the towns down there. So that's it for the safety report. Now let's go to break. All right, everyone. I am back, and we are now getting into our youth section. So let me open that up. I'm going to share this screen here with the youth portion. I want you guys to be able to see that. So I want to talk about the last 3 months of what we've been concentrating on when it comes to our young people. So first and foremost, I don't have a video. I need to share the video. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see me now. So this month, the concentration is on our young people ages 17 through 21. And I can't stress how important it is that you help us with any young person in your orbit, any young person that you know, ages 17 through 21. Too often, what ends up happening is we as Black people allow our young people to say what they're not interested in, what they won't be a part of. And while I respect that, Lord knows I do that with my youngest daughter now, I do think there's a section of duty, and it might be my military background that makes me feel like that. But part of what I mean is our young people are dying out here. They're being shot and killed. There's a narrative out there being pushed on young people that is working detrimental to us. So there has to be some agreement that we're going to do some coordinated joint stuff together that will allow us to push back against this enemy who is really got the hearts and minds of our young people doing stupid stuff, doing stuff that's going to hurt them in the long run, not help them. And we have a chance with this zip code structure to push back strategically. And with our 17-year-olds in particular, as soon as they turn 18, we want to have them on board with this loose change for global change, using the world as a learning experience. So 18-year-olds, for instance, would be a part of learning and interacting with Mississippi. We have a specific role 18-year-olds would play with the Blackest state in the Union. We have a role that our 19-year-olds will play when it comes to learning about the sister cities outside of Chicago, St. Louis this month, next month, Miami in October, and how they can help. Then our 20-year-olds will concentrate on the continent of Africa. So much reconnection needs to take place with that. So now your 20-year-olds are part of that. And then the last one is the 21-year-olds. And 21-year-olds are grown. They can drink now at the US. So before they go wild on being grown and excited about being grown, we want to anchor them to knowing that if we don't invest in our zip codes, those children who don't have stable households can become the shooters and killers of the very people we love. So we can't just throw our hands up and say, that's not me, I'm doing me, because this hopelessness is reigning in our zip codes, and it requires us to have a response to that. So I wanted you guys to see that. I'm gonna go to the next slide here, because what we want to really hammer home is the disparities on what our children are up against when we talk about this violence, that's affecting them. And what I'm gonna do right here, let's see if I can get to a web page on here. That'll be even better. And if I can't do it, it's okay. I think I can do it from my phone and not here, so that's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna read to you what it was talking about since I can't get to it. But it was looking at the disparities with our young people in St. Louis, Missouri. And the only reason why I chose St. Louis, because I could have chose any 20 of our U.S. cities, and you're going to see the same similar response. Black children all over this country are struggling. There's an economic gap, that disparity that hurts all aspects of Black life. And so when we hear that, the question becomes, what are we going to do about that? And again, I think we have it. Of course, I'm biased, so you guys would tell me if you think what I'm saying makes sense. But no matter what we do, pulling money together makes sense, because it costs the reason of slavery was about control and building an economy. The reason other ethnic groups are in our neighborhood is because of the economy. So if we can take what they use against us and we use it for us, and pulling $1 together is small enough to where no one is worried about being swindled, scammed. It should keep the risk so low that we can get more participation once people know the process of doing this. But it's a big deal that in order to fight this this disparity that Black people do for self and pull our money together. So let me read this to you guys real quick here. This is called child poverty. They got this equity score and disparity ratio. And I'm gonna tell you why I like this, because the score is from 100. So 1 to 100, 100 meaning that we have equity among Black people, Black children, and St. Louis white people and St. Louis Black young people. The score is not even a third. It's 29%. Their score in St. Louis on equity dealing with child poverty is 29. 29. This here says a whole lot because it's not 50, meaning we're not halfway there dealing with child poverty. We're not even a third. We didn't even hit 30. So this is a big doggone deal, because what are the effects of child poverty? Number one, the reason is probably child poverty because the male isn't there and the male isn't working. The male is probably incarcerated or been killed. Sad, possible stereotype, but that's reality. So that means that child is not growing up with both perspectives in their life. The child is going out there in an environment where you probably got a lot of people not working. So during the time you're at work, they're out there being amongst people who have a lot of time on their hands. If you're spiritual, you know what a lot of idle time is. It's the devil's workshop. So that's a dangerous mix there. What else? That means child poverty. They're probably not taking family vacations around this country every summer so they can broaden the perspectives of the children. Probably mean that they're hungry and the meals at school isn't enough. And so it's a lot of things that affect our community when you're dealing with poverty, child poverty. And to have a score, and I want to do this in all 20 of our cities. I'll be able to do this before next month's meeting, but this is about St. Louis only. And it comes from the St. Louis, Missouri government page. So I put that link in there too, so you guys can check that out. But that is, it's not good. It's not good at all. And it's pretty sad, but that's the reality that we're dealing with. And we're gonna do our best to make things better. So now let's move over to economic development. I got a little bit behind, so I'm gonna be speeding up here. Economic development, we're gonna talk about our dollars, and we're gonna talk about construction too in 8 minutes. We're gonna cover these. So I'm not going to break here because I gotta speed up. But let's get back on Zoom so you guys can follow me as well. Here we go right here. So you guys can see this. The screen should be popping up in 1 minute. There it is. Okay. So this is the website if you guys want to go and look at what I just saw. So you can slow this down. It will be on YouTube. You can play it back and get that whole link there. And you can look at the equity score 29 yourself. Okay. Now let me move down to, we're going to switch to economic development. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. This is where we're going right here. Economic development. And let me say this about Black people. When you're chasing European models of success, instead of chasing African models of success, you're swimming upstream, because the chances are Europeans know you're not European, meaning you're outsider. So all that you do to fit into that group, they could easily shun you just because it's evident you're not them. So when I see our people doing and supporting all things Europe, it really troubles me in terms of them knowing who they are and how they're important. Every group is important. The Asians are important. God created them. The Hispanics are important. God created them. The Germans, the French, everyone has a role to play. So for African Americans to chase after them, meaning you don't look favorably upon yourself. And that's a problem when you see us with all the things that say we love Europe more than the continent of Africa. So anyway, this here segment is, as we talk about economic development, no economic development from government will be able to get in your heart and say, love where you come from more so. Do for self, take personal responsibility. Don't always look for a handout or someone to help you. See what you can do on your own first. We have a $2 trillion economy. The fact that we aren't pooling our money together, doing for self, says something about us mentally, psychologically. We know we got a lot of people in the midst of us that are helping prop up the European models of success, but we got to look past that. We got to out organize around that and support it. Your $12 a year to National Black Code University allows us to do just that. It allows us to make sure that we're building block by block, zip code by zip code, conscious people who know that every Wednesday is economic day. Don't spend money with people who don't care about our cultural issues we're facing. So anyway, let's scroll down so you guys can read what the agenda is. Time coordinators will be reassigned for the jobs after school start. We've already done that, but I want to talk about, we've already done better donation-wise than all of last year. And that's a tribute to each of you for telling family and friends about the $12 and getting them on board. It's refreshing to me to know we have 3 more months to go and we already did better than all of last year, and it's still sunny outside. So thank you guys for your $12 donations. Thank you to our $100 loaners, our $144 business loaners, our $500, our $250 loaners, our $1,000 loaners, even our $5,000 loaners. You guys exhibit the trust that we need to press forward. We also have $5,000 coming in from leaders. And this is important because we're going to have $100,000 before this quarter is out. And so with this $100,000, this represents us having the ability to have 60 people working, 20 people in paperwork, 20 people in the phone work, 20 people out there door to door. This is significant in the 3rd largest city in America to have 60 people. That kind of tells you in smaller cities, we won't need that many people, but in a big city like Chi-Town, we're going to need that many people to rock with us to really get this city, Black Chicago, coordinating together. Then we also have, we're going to start our sponsors at $5. So you want to be a sponsor, put your business or what you're doing on our page, and I show that while we're on breaks. Let's do that. It won't be $5 alone. As this thing continue to grow, it was not going to be $5. It might be $500. So you want to get in now so you'll be in our library as supporting this national summit. Last thing I want to talk about is the 700 businesses. What this is, 700 businesses represent what we're targeting. 35 businesses in one zip code is $5,000. Let me say that again. 35 businesses putting up $144 is $5K. $5K is how we are organizing around $5,000. Everything we do is around $5,000. 20 Black zip codes we have in Chicago doing $5,000 each is $100K, 100,000. That's what we're getting ready to do before this quarter is out. That's our target, is to get 35 businesses and 20 zip codes to agree to 144. That's 100K. 700 businesses comes from 20 zip codes of 35. So 35 times 20 is 700 businesses. We can do 700 businesses before this year is out. I believe we can. Hydrus Clark is going to be leading that effort along with a few 14 other awesome leaders pushing the 700 club to make sure that we can meet and gain $144 from 700 Black businesses before December 31st. We have 98 days to go before this year is up. We can do that. All right, let's move on. Thank you, guys. This here is a link that is tied to the economic disparities, but we don't have time. I only got 2 minutes before it's time to get on education. So now I want to switch over to this subject here, construction. Now, Reverend Banks, thank God for Reverend Banks. I was able to do a video on Facebook, and a lot of you guys got in touch with me. Mr. Shannon got in touch with me. Robert got in touch with me, who are also in the trade. And what I'm hearing from all these leaders that's in these trades is the fact that they need workers. That's one of their biggest challenges, is getting workers. So if you're a parent, you someone in the house and your husband, child, grown adult want to be get in the trades, 312-405-8844. Let's kick them over to me. Let me write their name down and figure out where they're going, what they're trying to do, so we can link them with our superstars. Found out our superstar in Milwaukee, he's now a plumber. So our people in Milwaukee, we got a black plumber up there. We got a black plumber in the um, West End neighborhood in Atlanta, Georgia. So these are two young black men under 30 plumbers. That looks good. Of course, we got Chicago. So we just got to keep building. We need that database of all our people that's in the trades, landscaping and snow removal and gutters. So gutters is one of those things that we blow it off if we don't have anyone, we don't know anyone, it gets delayed, and that's a problem. You want to do the maintenance. So I'm saying we got to build up black men that's not afraid to get on the ladder, black women as well, and let's clean these gutters for a fee. Let's do that. Let's make that something that we can do. We don't have to have other ethnic groups in our neighborhood doing something that we can do for ourselves. Gutters is easy. Snow removal, we're going to be coming back to everyone asking for another donation so we can get a snow plower in each zip code. All right, that was a lot. Here's the links to the websites for dealing with our construction. And I'm at the 4 o'clock hour now. So now I'm going to go ahead and take this break. I am going to take 5 minutes here, but let me just leave it right here so you guys can see these 2 construction footnotes while I go to break. Thank you. All right, all right, all right. We are back. We are back. So, want to send a shout out real quick to what we call our Hall of Fame before I get into our education. And the Hall of Fame is people who are very important to the Black struggle, who have transitioned already, but we want to continue to uplift them and keep their name alive inside of the movement and what we do. We're going to be talking about the new new education leader in Chicago, been proposed by the mayor. And we're going to also talk about the 1619 project. Got some links there for you guys as well. It's hard to see me here. So much light coming through. All right, let's get to it. So, moment of silence for these L through O last name ancestors now. Okay. So I'm gonna read to you the last names and just a little snippet of why they are so important to me and the organization. If you guys have people, please just send them to me, 312-405-8844. You can text it to me as well so I can include them. Every 6 months, we're going to remember our people last names L through O and all the other last names during their month. So L last name, Deidre Landry. For those in Chicago, the South Shore neighborhood, he ran a record store. And he ran the record store way past the record store's prime time. Talking to him every month on his duty day, I really, really regretted not being able to physically meet with him, but we built up a 2 or 3 year conversation over the phone on the South Shore's once a month duty day, which is today, every fourth Saturday. So to Deidre and all the people when he transitioned, a lot of people had awesome things to say. So I felt good that we had that phone relationship. Kareem Abdul Latif. This brother here, I believe, was an HIV advocate. And I remember him when I first got started on the east side of Chicago, him being someone that used to make phone calls and connect dots with people who were of his age caliber, with people who's that could support someone younger like myself. So I thank Kareem for that. Mr. Leonard, my 7th grade teacher at Gregory School on the west side in North Lawndale. His daughter, Valerie Leonard, is doing a fabulous job. She's an asset to Black society, and we thank God for her and for her father's input in the lives of people like myself. Janice Lee was an amazing foster mom, took care of a lot of kids, gave them hope in the Garfield Park neighborhood. Bessie Long, amazing woman in the West Englewood neighborhood. Maxine Lofton, a superstar Black entrepreneur woman that used to help us with buses to take the kids to Lincoln Park Zoo. She had a yellow school bus company, Lofton Bus Company. So those are the L last name personnel we're paying homage to. The M, Sister Lottie Moore, one of our senior citizen leaders who made the transition from West Englewood, just supported everyone, loved everyone. Mary Moore, Gypsy as they call her, west side of Chicago, known. Son is Linton Johnson Jr. And Linton Johnson, the first, was a basketball superstar in Chicago. So Mary Moore, we pay homage to you. We never forget. Mr. and Mrs. McCullen, West Englewood superstars. Their children right now are still having an impact for us today. Tamara McCullen is one of the people, her mom, Everlois, is still having major contributions now to Black society. Rose McDonald, also West Englewood. Troy McDonald, West Englewood. Then the last person with the M last name is someone that just transitioned unexpectedly this year, Mother Mabel McFadden. Mother Mabel McFadden been supporting NBCU for a very, very long time. Her transition rocks us to our core. We pay homage and will never forget you, Mother McFadden. Her daughter, Monica, is doing a fabulous job raising grandchildren. Last name N, we only have Wardell Newsom. This is a pastor in the Garfield Park neighborhood that embraced us and supported us. And the last person, last name O, is Mary Outland. Mary Outland was someone that we didn't have a strong relationship, but I can tell from the neighborhood that people respected her immensely. And it was an honor to meet her and have her on our list to talk to once a month coming out of that neighborhood. So now we're in the education section here. So on the list here, as you can see, we have $300 a month to give away for our K through 12th grade awards. This is looks like it's going to be throughout the rest of this year, and then hopefully it's going to increase. We want to be at a position where it's $300 in every zip code. This is $300 nationwide, so that's because we don't have a lot of money yet. But as we get this funding, we want this to be in every zip code by itself, so we can always guarantee winners in each zip code. But we do have second graders that just won the second grade award. Our superstar Aishola in Africa made the signs up congratulating the first place second grade winner, the second place second grade winner, third place third grade winner. And if you are haven't had one of the young people in Africa make a sign up for you with your name on it, it feels special. I hope you can experience that, because it means something when you know someone on the other side of the world know your name, wrote down your name, and then sent you the picture to remember it forever. So kudos to Aishola and her team who makes those signs up. It really has impact for our people. So now let's get to this 1619 project. Very high level for those who don't know. August 1619 is when 16 African indentured slaves, indentured Africans made it here in Jamestown, Virginia. So history says. I wasn't there, I can't say, but so history says. So 1619 projects was started by New York Times columnist, or at least she highlighted it, Nicole Hannah Jones. God bless her. But she came under fierce attack from people who don't want to hear anything other than their supremacist view of America, or the United States of America. So the 1619 project highlights the other side. As you guys are taught by your parents at an early age, there's always two sides to a story. We in America, in the US, have only been given one side. So now with technology, social media, we can get our perspective out there without as much interference, and that's what's happened. And you got people who are very upset about that. Even the former president created another, I think, 1776 project to counter the 1619 project. This is what I would say to anyone who don't want the truth to be taught to the children. The facts, when you have the truth and facts, they stand on their own. So you don't have to do a lot to stand on the fact. Sometimes my wife, when I say something I know it's true and she says not, I just smile, because I know what I said is what it is, and I don't have to go that far to prove it. Now, if I'm feeling insecure, then I go and get emotional about trying to prove my point. But when you're confident on whatever it is, it stands on its own. And so anyone that don't want to have the truth told in history classes all over this country, that's unfortunate for you, that you want to live in a fantasy that's falsely propped up. And so all the arguments they had against this New York columnist, I would just say it's real unfortunate, because if she didn't do it, would they have done it? So if you're complaining about any aspect of what she wrote, were you going to write about it? Or were you going to continue to have your head buried in the sand and not tell your children the real, honest to God truth? I really believe some children who felt like they were superior because their parents put this spirit out there that they're better than, could have killed themselves, have killed themselves, because they weren't measuring up. And it was partially because they was sold a false narrative. Their parents weren't that great. They ancestors weren't that great. Not all, but some of them who would say you come from a line of greatness. But if you come from a line of people who took credit from people you call 3/5 of a human being or less than, you're not that great. And if that child isn't that great and they feel like they got to be great, why do they have to be great? It wasn't in the blood like you lied about. So I just wanted to put that out there. We got great white people, we got great black people, we have greatness, but when you won't allow your child to see the other side, then don't tell them there's two sides to every story. That's all. So anyway, that's the 1619 project. Nicole Hannah Jones, great job. We appreciate that. Last thing I want to touch on based on the slide here is Pedro Martinez have been nominated to be the new Chicago Public Schools leader. All right. So let me say this first and foremost, because this gets a little bit into Team 6 race relations, that the 1619 project, reparations, those things go together, and it's highly important to Black people, African people, not people of color, because people of color includes a lot of other people. They don't share that same sentiment. Some of people of color believe immigration is more important than reparations. I'm gonna talk about that later, but in a nutshell, the Hispanic community at some point was gonna ask for their leader to be in top management inside of Chicago. They've had others, but we knew it was coming either with the police department or the public schools. Since the illegal immigration has been unchecked, we have people who are making decisions who probably aren't even legally here. That's a problem. It's a problem that the Democratic Party appeared to look the other way with. The senator who created the Dream Act, Durbin, has said he wants reconciliation to be included so that this bill to bring almost $4 trillion in jobs through construction, he'd rather hold it up if they don't let the dreamers have their way. And I just think that says something, that you got Black people who have stood with the Democratic Party, who have stood with every presidential candidate, and yet and still they're being pushed to behind immigration. And it just really, really bothers me that a lot of Black elders continue to support that. It's real troublesome. I just think we have to have that other party, that third party that will force the Democrat Party to have to play and be level with us. We don't have the leverage right now. They know we're not going to go on the other side, so they can take you for granted. So anyway, that's Pedro Martinez is going to take over. I told one of our leaders this might work in our favor because sometimes they have to overcompensate when they're not from that ethnic group. So he may overcompensate by doing and listening to Black activists and parents in a way that the Black leaders ignored you because they were the same ethnic group as you. So that might work to our advantage. Either way it go, National Black Color University will continue to push kindergarten university through 12th grade university, making certain that we have 220 blocks in Chicago, all focused on one specific subject matter and grade, but for the whole city of Chicago. And that's going to force Black Chicago to interact with each other, to put education on the forefront. And we think no matter if it's Pedro Martinez in there or Janice, whoever it is, it's what we do with our children when it comes to education. And we're going to have first grade university helping kindergarten university, ninth grade university helping eighth grade university. That's going to be key for us moving forward. Then, of course, on the award side, very soon, very soon, kindergartners will have those daycare owners provide money for their awards, entertainers provide money, painters and veterinarians, making sure that the kindergarten awards is there. The gardeners of farmers, liquor stores, and seamsters will be putting money into the first graders having money for their awards and competitions each month. The corner store owners, firefighters, fishermen, martial arts, going to make sure money is there for second graders for the awards all over this country. Beauty supply owners, carpenters, Marine veterans, and restaurants are going to make sure money is there for the third graders and every month. Then we have our beauty salon owners, we have our brick masons, we have our detectives, our police, our landscapers, snow removal firms are going to make sure the fourth graders have the financial means and resources to compete and win. Our car wash owners, nurses, photographers, and scientists will help our fifth graders. We have our Army veterans, administrative assistants, computer programmers, nail salon owners, who's going to make sure that we put the resources behind our sixth graders to ensure that they are saturated with support. Then we're going to have our Air Force veterans. We're going to have our engineers, our auto mechanics, gas station owners, entrepreneurs, journalists, and roofers, all focused in being consistent with helping us when it comes to seventh graders. That's a big deal. We're going to have them helping. Our barbers, judges, lawyers, movers, and travel agents will pull together to help our eighth graders out. That's a big deal. Eighth grade is one of the more expensive times. So that's, parents need that help when it comes to eighth grade trip, pictures and all that stuff. So that's a big deal. Then we're going to have our accountants, our chefs, cleaners, Navy, landlords, welders committed to the ninth graders. Then caterers, cellular store owners, Coast Guard, doctors, dentists, DJs, HVAC personnel helping our 10th graders out. Apparel store owners, authors, electricians, librarians, and politicians committed to financially helping the 11th grade. Then finally, lounge owners, marketers, massage therapists, the plumbers, and salespersons are going to be helping our 12th graders out. This is a big deal. It provides a structure, and the structure means the alignment. And then after that, we got to work the system so we'll know when to behave in that new structured relationship so that we can create the systematic change in Black America. Systematic change. Because of our structure and because we know how to interact with each other, it makes it more systematized versus based on an organization or based on personality. So I'm excited about the future as we get people to know the alignment and structure and then know when to pull and work together. All right, so we're at the 4:20 hours, time to take a break. So we're going to come back in 5 minutes and we're going to keep this show moving. And in 5 minutes, we're going to be concentrated on policy. Okay. All right, all right, all right. I am back. Thank you guys for that break. We are now focused on policy. Let's get to that slide dealing with policy. Um, okay, here we go. So as you can see, as you look here at this slide here dealing with policy, this month the focus is about Washington, D.C. And DC is our gateway. Of course, the nation's capital is there, so a lot of policy is made there. Because DC is linked to 60629 and they're on duty every second Monday. That's our entryway, that's our point of entry, our gateway into changing laws of the land, federal laws of the land. It's through Washington, D.C. Deborah Pryor is our leader in Chicago that coordinates with Washington, D.C. We got superstar Jay Polly teacher out there in Washington, D.C. Tracy is our leader that works with Jay Polly there. Your dimes go to support what Jade is doing out there. Let's look at the conversation, immigration versus reparations. There's a slide, so I'm gonna click to the slide so you guys can on your own go to any of these slides. I wish I could click on it, but I want to talk about this immigration versus reparations. So I'm biased because I just think this nation's founding, when it comes to how it's done Black people, is so egregious, and the fact that we haven't even had an apology, we haven't had any atonement, we haven't had any reparations, and they gave slave owners, white people got reparations and we didn't. Like, it is so atrocious. And I think from a spiritual standpoint, you can't be all that you can be when you got that type of uh, spiritual luggage hanging on. So this nation is great. This nation can be even greater when it does right by the ancestors' children, us. And so when I hear people talk about immigration and they say this is a nation of immigrants, you're ignoring a group of people who wasn't immigrants, who was forced to be here. And so it's disrespectful to the highest degree when you say this is a nation of immigrants to ignore the very people who children was raped and killed, who wives was raped and killed. Uh, the first president of this nation having a young lady that he raped repeatedly and bore children from him. Like, think about this when you say this is a nation of immigrants, how disrespectful it is to all the stolen Africans. It's just so wrong. So when I hear people talk about immigration and we haven't repaired the wrong of this nation, you're gonna buy into the wrath coming to the people of this nation who continues to ignore the Black people and the ancestors of people who went and built this nation. So immigration, that's fine. This here nation is unique in terms of how it, welcomes people from everywhere. But I do think you got to do right by the root, by the core. And so my position is reparations first, then we talk immigration. So to have Senator from Illinois, Dick Durbin, senior senator, focus so much on immigration and not reparations is telling to me. So that's that debate. I also want to talk about, and let me say this when it comes to the race relations on this policy. There are so many other ethnic groups and Black neighborhoods all over this country who are silent because they're benefiting. They're silent because they're benefiting from the conditions that Black people are in, whether it's the gas stations, corner stores, whether it's the cellular stores, whether it's the beauty supply stores. There's people who are keeping the exploitation going of Black people. And in their mind, they made themselves believe that they're helping them when they really exploiting them. And so that's going to be part of this conversation dealing with we talked about last, and just in general, when you got people who are so privileged that they can't even see that they own SHIT stinks. So that's that. So let's talk about Haiti. Haiti is another example. What is the policy when it comes to Haiti? And I haven't affirmed this, but I understand that they had a policy that says Haiti would be welcome into the U.S. But because it's so far away, because we probably didn't invest in how to communicate in Haiti, it got there weeks later. So by the time that they made the trek all the way up there, the date has surpassed, and so now you get all these these Haitians stuck, and it just says something to whip another human being, and the way those images came across, it just showed you that those people doing it didn't value their lives to the way that they probably would have valued them if they was Hispanic or white. If I'm wrong, let's talk about that, but I don't think I'm wrong. Now that leads us to now the prison policy, jail policy. Ina, Ina, Illinois has 600 people in the whole town. You guys heard me say this. It sticks out so bad to me. But they have 1,600 inmates, majority from Chicago, in this small little town. Those 1,600 inmates get counted in the census there. So that means for 10 years, federal dollars are flowing into Ina, which is not majority black, instead of Chicago. When they get back and released, they're going back to Chicago that didn't get the census numbers, i.e. funding, but now they're there to drain the resource. So the white community in rural America benefits for 10 years. And if the system works, that person that's back north, not with census resources, he gets locked up again, go back down there, get counted in the next census. Now he good for another 10 years. So as you can see, this can get old, and it can discourage black people tremendously when we know that the real issue is the skin color. So it went no different in the 90s with crack cocaine getting more time for it than powder cocaine because of who's using it. You name it. These evildoers have been in charge and been crafting policies that work for their best interest to keep blacks suppressed, because black suppression allows a lot of people to eat. Those days are coming to an end. They're coming to a head. And I look forward to being a part of that. All right. Last thing I want to talk about is marijuana. You talk about privilege. So you lock up so many black people, and now you got white men making the most money out of this marijuana legalization. It just reeks of why blacks are so frustrated when it comes to the environment we're in. Here you making money on something you told us no, and now you're saying it has natural benefits, but when blacks was doing it illegally, it was all wrong. So we see that. We see it with white parents of children on heroin, and what they're doing for that. They need treatment now, not incarceration, but the people selling it to them should get locked up. So it just says something about the different, no different than what I said with the three dogs and how they're treated versus us. But it's important for black people to know, at least from my standpoint, this is why your $12 matters so much. $1 a month allows us to have our 8 teams stood up with real people working together to pull us together, block by block. All right, so that's it on the policy end. We got 2 minutes, so now we're gonna switch over to the legal side, but I'm gonna take a shorter break. This just will be a 3-minute break, so we'll be back at 4:36. All right, we are down. We have one more break that's going to come up when we switch over to open session. But right now, we're going to talk about the legal side. We call this Team 8. This is Team 8 out of 8 teams, Team 8. So I want to first talk about the Arab community in Chicago suing Mayor Lightfoot because of her paying attention to gas stations not doing what they're supposed to do. So now they want to sue her for shutting down gas stations that are selling, um, bad meat, selling chips that the mice done chewed on, um, got cords everywhere, you tripping hazards everywhere. They're saying we want to continue to be able to do what we want when we want to, and we don't want you trying to stop it. So that's a legal problem that we got to work on. And I reached out, and we're going to continue to reach out to the Arab League, this group in the south suburbs of Illinois, outside of Chicago. They're the ones threatening a lawsuit against Lori Lightfoot because they say it's hurting 400 black people that's working for them. And I told them that at the end of the day, the community is going to speak. So you haven't seen nothing yet. It's not what Lori Lightfoot does, it's what the people say. And, they get the young guys, black males, to protect them. They get the black females to work the cashier. Then they do unscrupulous sexual nature things to our black women behind the counter. But the black men are their security, willing to hurt another black man to protect them. So this is the psychological damage that we're dealing with. But the fact that they're going to sue Lori Lightfoot, that's good. We'll be at that court date so we can tell them how we feel about them. And they won't be coming from the mayor, be coming from the citizens, taxpayers. All right, so that's how we view and work with that. Mock trials. Been having a very difficult time getting these mock trials up and running because it's tied to us having a staff, and not having a staff means it's just harder. You got a staff, you designate it, and you watch them execute. So we're going to work on October having a real live team mock trial. We're going to see. Don't hold me to it. We're going to work toward it. I wanted to make sure that you guys knew why that matters so much. We need them practicing how to argue an argument and how to defend the argument. So that way, if they do choose to become a lawyer, they'll have good training. All right. So I'm right here at the 440 at the 440 minute. So this is going to allow me to take this break, and on the back end of the break is when we're going to get into the big part of the conversation, which is open questions for you. If not, we go dive into the conventions and why the conventions matter so much for Black society. The Gary and Indiana conventions are a game breaker for us, and I want to explain why. Thank you. All right, everyone. Your host, Cy Smith, is back. Want to talk about how we're going to close this summit up. This is the final summit for the year for last names L through O. Want to thank you guys again for just being able to stay with us, continue to donate and support us. We're going to talk about two things here in the closeout section. Apparel is one, and then we're going to talk about the $100,000 and the Gary conventions. Then we can wrap this up for this session. So let me first start out with apparel. Apparel is a big deal to National Block Club University. And the reason it's a big deal is because most people, just human nature, want something for their money. Like if I work hard for my money, I want something in return, even if it's just gratitude, knowing I'm directly helping. So I get that, we support that. That's why we talk about $1 a month. So that way it's not that much that could cause you to create mental, psychological disdain for us because we keep it low. But apparel is a way that we can create another stream of income and then allow us to have branding and marketing. And so I just want to talk real briefly on what that looks like for us. We have 20 US cities. There's a need for apparel in every one of those cities. That's a big deal. We have 20 neighborhoods in those 20 cities. That's a reason to create apparel, whether it's t-shirts, hoodies, hats. It's a reason people will purchase that. So that's 20 cities. 20 neighborhoods in Chicago. It's 20 US cities. We talked about that. It's 20 countries in Africa. So much energy to buy Black and support Blacks, even in Africa. That's going to be key. And so I think from an apparel standpoint, we want to do it right. We want to have it branded so that you will know whether you get something in New Orleans, what New Orleans is doing for Black America, what Detroit is doing for Black America. So that what the t-shirts and hats would look like matters. And that's what we'll be working through the rest of this year. So that way you can log on and order your apparel how you see fit, and I think that's going to be a beautiful thing to eventually get us to the place where we might have brick and mortar stores where our apparel is sitting at. So apparel is a big deal, not going nowhere, it's long term. Now let's talk about the $100,000 here. I'm gonna pull up another screen because I want you guys to take a peek at this and see what I see in terms of how we're gonna use $100,000 while we're raising $100,000 easier for us because we know the impact that it can have. So 60 member team. Let's see if I can blow this up so you guys can really see this. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can really see this. Okay. So 60 member team. Let's go to notes. I want to highlight something here. All right. So let's start right here. Get my red. Let's start right here. Spindle. Spindle. What is the spindle? The spindle is making certain that we have 108 times to meet each other and talk to each other. Here is where the 108 is, right here. 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 6:37. There are real people in charge of each of those times right now. And we're paying them people, and some are doing it with an IOU. And this is important because when we have 10 o'clock a.m. to 8 o'clock at night covered 108 times a month, that's going to be a thing of beauty because each one of those meetings at whatever time is another part of the puzzle that we're putting together. So I wanted to make sure you guys knew the spindle is right there. Now, the other thing that I want to highlight, I'm going to draw this one, is down. I'm going to go down. Ain't going to let me go down. So we go across the 700 Black businesses. Now, we're going to pay 60 people altogether $1,200. So that's 72 grand out of this 100 grand. So part of how we're going to get the next wave of money is through our Black businesses. 35 of them, as I stated before, doing 144 gets us there. But this shows you the barbers, a national network of barbers getting together, beauticians, a national network, citywide network of beauticians getting together, lounge owners, car washes, daycare. This is a big deal. And this is the beauty of having 60 people now, instead of once a month duty day, now they're working 3 days a week to speed up getting the 700 Black businesses to replace that $100,000. So I wanted to show you guys that. I'm excited about that. That is a big, big deal to me for us. Now let's scroll down so you can see. So we got the 700 businesses on the right. We got the spindle on the left. The other jobs comes down to this right here. And it comes down to, we call it K through 12th grade awards right here. We're going to have a person in charge of all kindergartens, first grade, second grade, third grade. So imagine the skill set and the network of people that each one of these grades can bring to helping our students if they're struggling. But more importantly, on our end is creating a paradigm where $400,000 every month will be given to K through 12th grade. Every month, $400K. That's $4.8 million a year just for K through 12th grade award in our 20 zip codes. Can you imagine what 400 grand every single month is going to do to the behavior of young people? That's a big deal. That's a big deal. All right. Then lastly is here, the exploitation team. Their job is to work with these non-Black owned stores that say that they helping us. Beauty supply stores, they say they helping us. Liquor stores, they say they helping us. Apparel stores, they say. Nail salons, they say. Gas stations, they say. Corner stores, they say they're helping us. And then the last one, cellular stores. So now to have 15 people on each one of these teams, K through 12th grade awards, 15 people, exploitation team, 15 people, 700 club, 15 people, 108 spindle, 15 people. This is a big doggone deal to have 60 people at the same time pushing report cards on the exploitation, meaning that we're going to document they giving back each and every month. And if they don't, let's just say team 2 might be out there to pay them a visit. We don't want the money. We want them to commit it to the zip code. So I wanted to just spend some time and talk about this is how we're going to spend $72,000, 60 people, $1,200 for 90 days to get this whole concept out there where everyone can benefit from it. All right. So in closing here, convention is the last piece. There's a convention person under the 700 club. It's a convention person right here. Right, let's see, where is my convention person? I don't see it. But yeah, I was going to show you guys our convention person, but it's cool. We're moving on. So let's go through the conventions real quick. Let me stop sharing so I can just look at you as we close this out here. All right, so the Gary, Indiana was selected for Convention City for at least the next 5 years because Gary is 88% Black, small town right outside rich Chicago. It makes sense for us to overwhelm Gary with love, support, and financial resources. And that's why we selected Gary. So to create vibrancy, a reason for people to come to Gary from all over the country, we created January all the way to December weekly conventions. Every week, 4 weeks out the year, out of each month, we're doing these different conventions. So last month in August 6th was our political convention. August 13th was our military convention. August 20th was our martial arts karate convention. March 27th was our sales and marketing convention. Then this month, September 3rd, was our firefighters convention. And these dates, I just noticed, we're looking at 2022. So these dates are off by one. So September 2nd, September 4th, our firefighters convention. September 11th, our barber and beautician. September 18th, our poetry. And then September 25th today is dealing with art convention. And in each of them areas, as we meet people and they tell us my cousin's an artist, my auntie, she's a barber, look at what it does. It allows us to get them linked to the grade that they're linked to, and it allows us to get them linked to when their convention is. This is beautiful for us. Beautiful, beautiful. So next month, October, all 4 weeks in October, Saturdays, Fridays, Saturdays, we're honoring the 1920s convention. All things what was happening in the 1920s, 1930s on the 2nd, October 9th. All right. Then October 16th, we're going to be honoring all those born in the 1940s. Then the last one, 1950s, those born in 1950s, we're going to be paying tribute and honoring them at the convention. at the convention. The convention is our excuse to build up the real estate, the housing, the hotels, everything in Gary, right outside Chicago, so that we can have a Black Mecca economically, not just in population numbers. Okay, so that concludes it. I want to thank you guys. You've been amazing. And again, some of you guys are going to watch this and share it later, and that's perfectly fine. My number is 312-405-8844. That's 312-405-8844. Our next convention is last names P, Q, and R. And that's Saturday, October 23rd for last names P, Q, and R. Today is all about L, M, N, O. If you haven't donated $1, $12, please go to the website www.nationalblockclubuniversity.com. Please donate at least your dollar. If your last name is L through O, we're saying anything that happens this month is on your watch. At least put some seeds in so that we can watch it, even if you can't. So thank you guys for watching. We're gonna disconnect. I want to just make sure that you go, next month we're going to really allow sponsors here. I just need to get your info, your PowerPoint, JPEG, so I can put you on the breaks. Y'all see we take quite a bit of breaks, then we take 9 breaks. So this way you can be out there being promoted by this national infrastructure, national network, especially in Chi-Town for $5. Like, let's do that. All right, I'm going to leave you guys with this as we tune out. So you guys can watch this. We only have 4 minutes left, so you can leave and just look at these jobs as we tune out right here. Look at these jobs. It's a thing of beauty.